Coming to you live from Camp Crystal Lake, it's the 10 Point Podcast. My name is Bruce, and I'm an old friend of the Christies. Joining me this week, dumb kids, know-it-alls, heads full of rocks. First, if you're a flavour of ice cream, what would it be, Chris?
Cookie dough. Absolutely love it.
Cookie dough, okay. Well, Rocky Road is what they said in the film, so I missed that one. And secondly, he should be watched every single minute. He's not a very good swimmer. It's Andy.
Mint choc chip.
I'll still never forget that banana chocolate chunk I had when we were in Holland. Was it in Cyprus? That you
Cyprus, aye. You absolutely love that ice cream.
Banana chocolate chunk, not mint choc chip. Banana, and it was chunks of chocolate. It was amazing. I loved it.
Literally, that's all he talked about after he had that ice cream. I loved it.
That was amazing. Probably very, very unhealthy now I think about it. We are the 10 Point Podcast. We talk about movies as well as ice creams. In fact, we'll review anything. Let us know what you want us to review. We'll review it. Google 10 Point Podcast, you'll find one of our many sources on the internet. Usually wherever you get podcasts, or YouTube, or Spotify does both podcast version and video versions of it, where you can watch us on our silly backgrounds with things that we usually talk about during the podcast.
Chris
in the background. Chris is falling asleep on a boat. But that's a joke for those of you who can see us. For those of you who can hear us, there'll be many more. Before we get on to the main reason for the podcast this week, what was our past highlights of the week? Andy, I will start with you because you and I have a similar highlight. Andy, lead off.
I went to the cinema and watched Saw X.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris
Me too.
was confused.
Let's try and be spoiler-free, I imagine,
okay.
because Chris will want to watch it. And there's kind
I've
of
got like
a spoiler.
8 films to catch up on, so spoiler, I'll forget.
Anyway, I don't tend to like prequels or like things that fit in between things because they're never done well. This is actually up there with the thing I think was done really well. Almost unnecessary, the film, but it does add a lot. And it's like, actually, you know what? I get it a bit more now. It adds a little bit to it. It doesn't take anything away. My only criticism of it is, and I'm kind of glad we didn't do it, they look old.
Shawnee Smith, I feel really bad that they asked Shawnee Smith, who must be in her 50s, to play herself probably in her 30s.
Exactly. There's no way around it. She's amazing. Yeah. She is great at what she does.
And we love Amanda.
She is in the Amanda zone, but there's no hiding her fact that she's aged. Because
luckily Tobin Bell...
quite a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. More than most of the other ones.
It's not too bad.
Eh?
She's fine when she's not...
Yeah,
she's fine when she's not talking, because she looks like, oh, it's Shawnee Smith. And then when she starts talking, it's like, right, okay, yeah, you're playing your very much younger self. Like Tobin Bell, he always looked a bit ancient. He probably, when he was in his 30s, he probably looked a bit old. Yeah. So he's fine 20 years later. But yeah, this film comes, basically, was it 2003, 4, between the first and second films is when this new one comes out, or fits in. And it's like, yeah, sorry, Shawnee, I'm glad you didn't recast you, because you are Amanda and Amanda only.
Yes, so. Exactly. No, I'm happy with that. I would say it's twisty. Chris will love it. It's got twists. I've seen every twist coming. Except for one. There was one twist that did get me. I was like, whoa, that's a twist right there. That's going to blow Chris's mind. But yeah, you know it's coming. That's the problem.
There's like it's basically the first, what is it, 2 hours long? Hour and a half? Yeah. I can't remember how long it was. 2 hours long.
It was 2 hours, yeah.
First half hour, 40 minutes isn't a Saw film.
No.
Basically, it's a story of an old man who has cancer trying to seek treatment.
Yes.
And
still,
it's fun.
It's always got cancer.
Well, this is him back when he needed it. Like, this literally...
Right. Spoiler, this was after... after 2. Is it?
No, after the first one. Mm-hmm. Trust me, I was like, I've researched the timeline.
Oh, no, if they're saying it's after 1, then there's a big issue, because it's technically after 2.
Is that because of...
Yes, me and Chantal had this argument, because it technically should be after 2. It's somewhere between 1 and 2, Chris.
Yeah, my belief from what I have read is that it comes after the first one, because he's taken Amanda under his wing.
Yes.
And this is basically her first real test. As in, she's in training. And then when we get to Saw 2, Amanda has been trained, basically. That's what I believed it fit in.
But actually, there's two things. There's a line that somebody says because they know who John Kramer is, and they don't know who John Kramer is until 2.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So you have just made reference to basically the villain. If you count Jigsaw as the hero of the Saw movies, his opposite number on the bad side of things.
Yes.
She knows who Jigsaw is somehow. But that aside, I thought she was the best thing in the film.
Yeah, she was really good.
Like she was both, because she plays a kind of dual role that we won't spoil anything, but yes, the opposing, John Kramer's always the smartest person in the room, but there's another person who is as smart as him in this one, and she's very good at doing that, and I very much enjoyed her. So hopefully, because of the whole timeline mess, no spoilers, hopefully she's in another one at some point, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's basically, we've done it well with, we did Saw 1, and then seemingly this comes straight after it. And if it comes after
I'm thinking there's kind of some kind of quasi between. There's bits of two. Like I had this argument with Chantel. She was like, "Oh, it is after one." I was like, "No, there's two things that happened in that film that it was after. It was after two.
It has to be after the other one." Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's like, no. It's like we had this argument already. So Chris
the
is
first half of the
have to
film,
watch and let us know.
Yeah, you will. But the first half of the film is very much not. It's about a guy rather than.
But even that, I enjoyed. Like it was like,
oh yeah.
I was like, you get some gore, and then it's just like, I mean, you get some awful gore at the start, and I was just like,
yeah. That was just in his head, wasn't it? He didn't actually do that bit.
That was in his head. Yeah.
Literally, the image from the poster that's advertising this new movie doesn't actually happen. It's a fantasy that John Kramer has, which is quite funny.
I can't remember the poster now.
Well, it's going to blow your mind anyway, Chris. It's what a film, but.
The second half,
it's definitely up there with that. Like, it's better than your kind of Jigsaws and your Chris Rock ones and that. It's
definitely better than Spiral, and I think it's better than all of the Costas Manlittle Soul ones. If you want,
I'm slowly going to go through them. I mean, I might put Saw 2 on just to have a wee watch after this.
Now I'm thinking about it, I do think Saw 2 might actually be the best one. Like I
told you, Saw 2 is my favorite. Fucking absolutely blow my mind.
Saw 1 does very much hinge on that twist at the end, which once you know it,
and this one definitely adds to Saw 2. Like like normally people would take away, like Star Wars has got this big mess that's going on at the moment, but like speaking of Star Wars, Ahsoka. Oh, what an end that was.
Oh, you watched the finale? No, I haven't seen the finale yet.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Right. Was that a good noise that you made? You were like, you said what a finale. Like,
it is what a finale. I need more.
Okay.
Right. More. That's all I'm finale. Saying. Absolutely shit.
No, it's absolutely amazing. But the problem is when you watch the second last episode, you're like, how the fuck are they going to wrap this up? And then I put it on and I paused it straight away to wait for Chantel to come in. And I was like, only 40 minutes long. They're fucked in this. It's like not a chance. And then I watched it and I'm just like, I need more.
They've left some dangling.
Yeah, there's a bit of dangling, yes. And it's not just her hair tentacles.
Saw 10 was my highlight week as well, but I also went and saw The Creator at the cinema this week. The latest AI is the devil movie to come out. You say spacey, it's all set on Earth. So it may look like it's spacey.
Futuristic, spacey, whatever.
It's futuristic, certainly.
Don't they wear like big space helmets in the poster?
They do, yeah, and a lot of it is about a sort of ship. It's not a spaceship, but it's just like a ship that humans have created that kind of coasts over the Earth.
Right, that's why I'm thinking of space
sort of measure. But that's the main thing about it, like a main Death Star kind of thing in the film. I think I nearly dropped off sleeping 3 times during this film.
that sounds good then.
And I watched it half past one in the afternoon. Like it wasn't like it was late. It wasn't like it was out of my bed first thing in the morning to queue up and go and see it. No, the double bill, this and then Saw. Saw was fine. Never fell asleep once. But this, it's just not anything. Like it's something, but it's not something special. It just exists. I'm not desperately keen on John David Washington, the guy from Tenet. That's the main guy. Yeah. He always seems like he's playing it kind of like a bit trying to be funny, but there's no humor in this film, really. Like it's not meant to be hilarious. It's just it's not as good as other things that it's trying to be like, and it's just a bit naff.
See, it was like that banger I went and watched. Was it 10,000 BC? That was a banger out of nowhere. The Adam Driver one.
Oh, that wasn't that you're thinking of?
That.
Yeah. 46 or 45. It's called. It's just a number like that. Yeah, that's better. I would recommend that over The Creator. The Creator, you can see that it's probably got a budget 100 times bigger than what Saw 10 did, but I enjoyed Saw 10 probably 100 times more. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just nothing. Like it'll be on BBC One like sort of Sunday afternoons. Yeah, maybe Christmas time, and it's like people will watch it. There's not that many big names in it, and it's all derivative of other things, and it poses a lot of plot holes and questions, and why are people making these decisions and all that. And it's just I don't know. I just wasn't interested, to be honest. I thought it might be something good, but it turned out it was less than the sum of its parts. I think it was just not particularly good. Chris, any highlights from you?
No, nothing for me. I've still been in the house decorating. No changing rooms. Yeah. No changing
Yes.
room recommendations this week, so.
Nothing.
And you still look like you're half asleep when you're doing a podcast because there's a great bit. There's a great bit in the last podcast if anybody's watching the thing where he's like Bruce is doing his intro, which is about to get on to, and he goes to this. Literally falls asleep mid Bruce talking.
I don't know if it was the day before or the day after, but I was up until 4 o'clock glossing.
That's right. Yes, I remember you saying. But yes, so
normal
Chris
service resumes next week when Chris has actually got furniture in the house.
He's got his internet in his new house.
I'm sitting on the floor.
Once he gets a telly in his new house, he might start watching things again. But I'm as far behind on some shows as he is, so we'll catch up next week probably. So we better crack on with point number 1 on the 10-point podcast. What is the point? The point: the 1980 horror mystery thriller Friday the 13th. Written by Victor Miller, famous for writing Friday the 13th, a couple of seasons of All My Children, something called Rock, Paper, Scissors, and then literally everything else that he is involved with writing credits is Jason Voorhees one way or another. It's like characters written by, characters created by. So he basically is the Friday the 13th guy. But he only wrote the first film. Like, they took it from him and wrote other films on his characters. The film, the first Friday the 13th from 1980, directed by Sean S. Cunningham. It's the only Friday the 13th movie that he directed, and seemingly the only thing of any note that he directed. He produced some other bits and bobs, but in terms of directing credits, just this.
He knew he fucked up, because he was the one that's basically turned around and said, having Jason as a killer in feature films isn't going to work.
Yes, he didn't want the whole Jason involvement. And yes, he has admitted his mistake since then. But yes, I'm sure the two of them made a pretty packet of Friday the 13th one way or another. The cast. I've only picked out 2 names. 2 names appear on their own at the beginning of the credits. All the rest kind of get run together. The main star, listed first, billed first, as Mrs. Voorhees, Betsy Palmer. Famous for Mr. Roberts, away back in the 50s, Friday the 13th, parts 1 and 2, and then Penny Dreadful, not the TV show, something else from the 2000 something or others. She's a stage actress, mainly, is Betsy Palmer. And she took the job to pay for a car that she needed. That's why she took the job a bit out of her comfort zone. But apparently she initially kind of didn't like the idea that she was famous for being in Friday the 13th, but has now embraced it. That she...
Why wouldn't you? Make money about it.
Exactly. But apparently her favourite thing to do by researching the film is that she denies that this large gentleman with a hockey mask on, that's her son. She's like, no, my son died in the Crystal Lake in 1957. She tells everyone that she meet fans. She does not acknowledge the Jason as we know him today. So our only other cast member I'll pick on, starring as Alice, Adrienne King, famous for Friday the 13th parts 1 and 2. And basically that's it. The story with her is that after the first Friday the 13th came out, she was stalked by a crazy person because of her being in the film. And she then said, I don't want to be in much of the second one. So she's got a bit of a cameo in that, and then decided to basically retire from acting for 20-odd years. So we know how the 10-point podcast works. She'll probably show up in something next week.
Exactly.
But,
Stalker's got to ruin it for everybody.
I wonder if Jason's just standing outside just like that every time she opens her window.
It must be, yeah. So, not the biggest cast list ever. I have missed off the one... Well, there's 2 famous names in this. One of you will definitely know. One of you might not know why they're famous, but we will come to them throughout because they were not the main stars in the film. Friday the 13th, on a budget of $550,000, opened in the US its first weekend, $5.8 million, so immediately huge profits. Final US gross, $40 million. Worldwide gross in 1980, it says somewhere on the internet $60 million, but I only saw it written once, so I cannot verify that. So yeah, somewhere in the region of about $50 million this made from a budget of $500,000. You can see why they made 147 Friday the 13th movies off the back of this. Friday the 13th, released in the United States of America on Friday the 9th of May, 1980. It made it to the UK on Friday the 13th of June, 1980. The UK release date was literally the date it said at the beginning of the film, when it says present day, Friday the 13th of June, and obviously 1980 when the film came out, and it was Friday the 13th that year. So UK summer, exactly the date it's supposed to come out. The US must be confused when it came out on the wrong date. That meant 1980, 81 awards season for Friday the 13th. Oscars, obviously nothing at the Oscars. We can just zip right past that. 1981 Razzies, however, there were 2 nominations for Friday the 13th. First nomination, Worst Supporting Actress, Betsy Palmer as Mrs. Voorhees. She lost to... Yes, well, we'll get onto it, I'm sure. She lost to Amy Irving for a film called Honeysuckle Rose, which I've looked into, and apparently is a country music movie starring Willie Nelson as an old country music star playing to type there. And speaking of that kind of thing, Worst Picture nominated Friday the 13th as well. It lost to that one as well, but it lost to Can't Stop the Music, a film we've mentioned in the past. That's the Village People movie, which is basically a kind of fake biography, autobiography of the Village People in movie form. It was the worst film that year. MTV Movie Awards did not exist yet. Saturn Awards, I'm not sure if they existed, however, did not acknowledge Friday the 13th until the bonus bundle 127 box set came out, and it got a nomination in the 2000s. And other awards, it did not win anything else ever. It did not win a single award. It was nominated for 9 across DVDs and cinema releases, but not one was a winner. Synopsis for Friday the 13th, written for us by RuPaul's Drag Race fan. A synopsis here. And RuPaul's Drag Race fan says, in 1958, 2 camp counselors are both murdered by an unseen killer. 21 years later, the camp is opened again, despite the townspeople's fears that more mayhem will occur. The camp owner and counselors are murdered one by one by an unseen killer. Could he or she be the same person who killed those 2 camp counselors in 1958? Everything climaxes with the final counselor coming face to face with the killer.
He sort of climax.
Yeah.
Spoiler-free one. Nice.
Kind of spoiler-free, but also kind of telling us what actually happens, what to expect, but kind of not specific. Who picked Friday the 13th? It was me. Had we seen it before? I had only ever seen this once before, and it is the only Friday the 13th movie that I have seen. Andy, how about you?
I've seen it once before. I've powered through all of them. I've done that run.
I thought I'd seen it, but apparently not.
Yeah. So have you seen actual Jason Voorhees ones then?
I thought I did, but I can't remember anything. So I don't know whether I've started on the second one, on part 2.
Because
have you seen him in New York?
Oh no.
Have you seen him in
space? I've seen it in space. Yeah.
Right. That's a banger.
I bet Andy showed you that at some point.
That's up there with my favorite Jason film. I love Space Jason.
But yeah, so therefore, Andy knows it. You think you might only seen it once, Andy, or do you think you?
I've only seen this one like once. This is probably the second time. I've seen other ones, but I don't think I've definitely done a sit through, watch them all. But then I could tell you bits of films, and I couldn't tell you what films are from.
You couldn't say, I remember this kill from Jason Takes
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
I know a bunch of them are always obviously at Camp Crystal Lake, but then he does go to Manhattan, then he goes to hell, then he goes to space, then he goes to suburbia, but then most of them are here.
Yeah, so eventually when we hit episode 100,000 of their podcast, we'll have done them all by then, and we can have a reflect back.
Chris will be grey and old.
I'll be dead. Which channel will we find it on, do you think?
It's probably Channel 4.
I've gone for actual Channel 4. Yeah, I think
Channel
11:05 sort of start time on actual Channel 4. Again, we're talking, this is TV scheduling basically of the 1990s. I have no idea what's on TV these days. I never actually watch live television anymore. So
I guarantee you there'll be a Halloween film 4 thing, and this is bound
to will be, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And which version did we watch? It's complicated. We all watched the same one. I can confirm that. It's complicated, but not interesting about the different versions. So I will just move on from here because bits are lost, bits are cut, bits are put back in, bits did happen, bits didn't happen. Some argue that things. I won't get into it. So yeah, we all watched the same thing, and it seems to be the standard cut.
Was there a dwarf hung himself in the background? Like
there wasn't. No.
Right. Okay. We didn't go that version then.
We had the one with the stork next to the lake. Point 2 on the podcast is the high points, what we thought the best bits and things were. Normally the person who picks goes off first. I'll just start by saying the prologue, I don't know if it's a high point, it's very basic, but at least it sets up the premise for the film, but I wouldn't give it a massive thumbs up.
You kind of need that straight away because it's a slow burner, this.
I didn't realise it was this that started the whole...
Well, that's what this is. Yeah, that's from this, yeah.
Should I ruin my fun fact since Chris has brought it up?
Go for
it.
So the fun fact is that noise is it's actually meant to be like the killers in the brain is going like kill, 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 mum, mum, mum.
Yeah, because she's like slightly schizophrenic. Yes. The whole thing. And it's her doing the Jason voice which we'll maybe come to later on, going, yeah, kick, ma. But it does sound like,
Yeah.
is what it sounds like. It never sounded
I don't know if it's
ma.
like old like mono stereo cinema and it's changed over time. Like it's like, right, we've recorded it, that sounds banging, and they put it onto like a film reel, and it's like, fuck it, we'll go with it. Can't be hard changing that. It'll be fine.
It sounds better that way, but no one knows what it is.
It doesn't make sense going.
This is going to be walking around his house doing that to shut up the kids and Nicola now.
I do it, but if there's a lull, like if it's quiet, I'll just go. Just for the sake of it. I had no idea it was coming from this film.
There you go.
I didn't realize that this film did start way back in the 1950s. I thought the whole thing was just at the lake, so that was a bit of a surprise to me. And it kind of helps with the whole who the hell is this killer? Is it the same person? Like Andy, did you go into this film knowing, like, spoilers for the whole of the film, basically? And did you go in remembering the killer?
Oh, 100%, yeah. What
about you, Chris? Did you know the killer?
I only know it because of Scream. Because Scream spoils it for you with that question.
So you went in knowing what it was.
If I hadn't seen that, I would have assumed it was the guy with the hockey mask. Because that's what he's famous for.
That's when the first time I went into this, like, I was a bit too young, but yeah, first time I was like, I definitely seen Jason before this film. Like, out like Jason with the hockey mask on. So I was like, let's watch where it all begins. And it's like, where's Jason? Like, Jason's not in this. Where's the hockey mask? It doesn't exist.
So having this be the only one I've watched and knowing that Jason is like, he is the Freddy Krueger, he is the Ghostface, he is the killer of this, I was like kind of expecting it, but the film does take you on a sort of, they do throw a few options at you throughout. So the fact that it started in the 50s makes you think, oh, is it the same person and all that? But obviously we know by the end that it was the same person because that was 58 rather than 57. But we'll get into that, sure. High points from the early doors. Who wants to go?
I've got one. I got Human Waste again. I thought Annie was going to be the main hero. You seen her walking through, I'm assuming, what's it, Camp Crystal or something? Where the place is?
I can't remember
Crystal Lake?
Crystal Lake is the lake. I don't imagine the town is called Crystal Lake Town or anything like that. It's probably got another name that I've done.
I thought, like, see, she was going to be the main hero. There's a lot of her. I enjoyed the truck drive with the guy who had setting up the passing. Yeah.
So I've got, before that, I very much enjoyed Ralph, the Prophet of Doom.
Yes.
I liked him. I did not know he was coming back, which I enjoyed him coming back. Apparently, he's supposed to be a suspect. Not at any point did I ever think I felt like Ralph was the one doing it. Like, apparently
they set up a load of people like that as well, but it's just like
there's a few.
Yeah,
there are a few clues set about. It's different, obviously, watching it when you know exactly who it is. But throughout, but I never thought Ralph was even a suspect. I did not consider him being the killer. But
I thought when she walks into that diner and every turns around and looks at an outsider,
and the woman turns on the radio.
You get that what's that, Texas Chainsaw kind of feel. But I like the.
And getting picked up.
The journey of him explaining. Oh yeah, it's just a flippant remark as well. Oh, there's these two camps got killed, a kid drowned, and you're supposed to forget about it.
And that's it. Basically, that's the story. You see, here's 1958. Here's something happening. That guy tells Annie in the car, "Oh yeah, a boy drowned. Then people killed." And then ever since, there's a couple of fires and they haven't used it in 20 years. And that's it. Like, the rest of the film, you're basically left to watch these people get murdered and think, oh, maybe it's that. Oh, it's people that way. Oh, there's only him left. It must be him and all that. And the whole time, it's somebody you're not even thinking about that's doing the murdering. So
for a long time, I thought, like, maybe the Mrs. Voorhees was a double bluff. I thought it was the creepy guy behind you for a while.
Well, I think the first half of the film, I think it's definitely designed that we think it's Steve.
Yeah.
Because my next high point is Annie getting picked up after Enos has dropped her off on the crossroads. Because he leaves the camp in this sort of green Jeep thing. I can't remember if he was shirtless or not. I think he might have had a shirt on at that point. And he drives off. And then basically, a scene or two later, this very similar looking green car drives up to Annie. And you're like, thank God. Annie's going to get here's the exact person.
Some great camera shots.
The stuff in. Yeah, hops into the car and then she starts talking. And then you realize that, wait, we're not seeing Steve talking back. We're seeing the camera POV shot here. And the last time we've seen this, people have been getting killed. And I thought, it's going to be a bit more drama here. But no, immediately, they take Annie past the turning and proper horror movie. The whole thing with these is this the first one where they went past the driveway? That's my turning, or have they been doing it before this? And
then, commando roll afterwards. Her lands on her neck and cripples herself.
I've got that. She jumps out of the car head first. Like, what a strange way to escape being killed. And then she just gets straight up murdered up against a tree or something like that, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I mean, the killer is still on the loose, but are we the same person? And why do we think it's lovely Steve Christie from the camp? Because he seemed like a nice man earlier. So yeah, it's a good take us that direction that we think it's Steve.
One of my first major pops was completely, utterly forgot about the person we were not talking about. Fucking Bacon.
Kevin Bacon is my next high point.
I was just like, fuck, it's Kevin Bacon. I forgot he was in this.
I had no idea he was in this at all. Like, I've never even.
They get the same reaction as every single time when I watch the first Freddy Krueger and going, oh yeah, I forgot fucking Johnny Depp's in this.
Yeah. That's like his first ever film. Is this his first film? Kevin
Bacon? I'll have a quick Google.
I think it's probably be there.
Having seen this reasonably recently, I'd still completely forgotten that he was in it.
Exactly.
So
he's one of them people because he doesn't really do anything either other than some hanky panky.
Because obviously, when I'd picked it, I was like, oh, I'll look at the beginning of the cast list and be like, oh, and you'll never guess who's like in it. And I never got as far down as where he is in the cast list. Put it this way, he was in National Lampoon's Animal House. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's kind of in that, isn't he? Then 3 other things, but one of them came out the same year as Friday the 13th.
Right.
So it's very early on in his career, old Kevin Bacon. And
he's great straight away. I'm like, yes, you're good, but then he does actually nothing in this film, really.
He does nothing, and then his death is my next high point.
Yes,
actually. That's how
I've got
a
small one before that when that arsehole pretends to drown and he just belly flops into the water to get him.
We will leave that arsehole referred to as that arsehole until low points, I'm sure.
But yeah, my next high point is him.
Yeah,
the Kevin Bacon death got me. I did not expect what was happening, and with Chris's jump scare of the week thing is a thing we do on here, whatever we call it. But when that hand just came out and just grabbed him with the forehead, I jumped like I forgot.
The entire scene, like everything from the fact he's just a little bit hanky panky, he's lying out, all vulnerable, and that single drop, and as soon as he touches it, the hand comes up and it's right through his neck. I absolutely shit to myself.
That's what's so perfect about it is that we know he's up there, and I was thinking it's going to start dripping on him soon, and that's going to be the giveaway. And then the one drip happens, and you're like, "Oh, there we go." He's going to start panicking, and before it's like the perfect amount of time for it all of a sudden to be like, "Wah!" and then just jab him through the neck with an arrow.
I genuinely thought dead body was going to fall during
on top of him. Yeah,
right. Yeah. I'm sure it was the blood.
Get uncomfortable moving.
But yeah, definitely shout out to Tom Savini again.
Tom Savini, yes, Tom Savini will be getting mentioned throughout. Yes, Tom Savini. I did not realize, even as I was watching it, I'll do a bit of researching as we go through. I didn't realize how significant he was until after I'd finished, and I was looking at all the trivia and all the details. And Tom Savini doesn't. I can see why he's randomly billed quite a lot in the credits because he is massively involved in this film.
Yeah,
Tom Savini. But yes, we will touch on him. I am sure. Axe fully in Marcy's head. That's my next high point. Her keeping around in the showers.
That also goes into my low points, but we'll get to that one.
Okay,
it's a high point for the death, but there's a low point bit of that.
You could be right. I really liked her knowing something's up, and then she peeks in, and then you just see the axe kind of going up, the shadow in the background.
That's my low point. So you see, it's like, oh, she's fucked, but then she just screams. It's like, and there's literally too long of a delay before it's like whack.
I guess so. Like, yeah, you're probably right. Yes.
I was like, run, bitch, throw something, but no, just like Then quiet. Then axe is like
thwack. Fully into her cranium. I thought was quite good. So
the deaths all just start kicking off is my overall high.
Yeah, pretty much. There's not a bad death like arrow to the door guy, and all the deaths are pretty good.
One question about that. I'm assuming he got killed before he got kind of impaled up.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
Just wonder how she would have done that. She got super strength, just holding him with one hand.
Oh, that's what psychos do. You got super strength.
She's got that. So my next bit in the notes was literally halfway through the movie is when we cut to Steve sitting in the diner, dressed basically the same as what the killer has been, with his car now that the roof is up, looking absolutely identical to the killer. But he's got an alibi with the people who are in the diner, and we find it on his way back that he's been 12 miles away the entire time. So for people who did not know the story of the film, the first 45 minutes, I reckon, is making them think Steve's invited all these people to his camp so he can kill them like he did back in the 50s or whatever. but then here we go. It's not been Steve at all. I think that's a really good kind of mid-film twist that's put out really well. That it can't be him. Here's all the evidence that it's not him, and he's on his way back. He'll maybe be able to save everybody. I thought it was a good little bit. On his way back, I fully believe in the cops' full moon theory. Full moon theory. People do go mad on full moon.
Yes, they do.
People go crazy. They do
yeah.
daft stuff. They're idiots. I fully am invested in that policeman's theory about the full moon. I'll just follow on to the end of this, but then Steve, with the Dick Halloran from The Shining special, travel, struggle, travel, car breaks down, travel, immediately killed upon getting there.
Yep.
Fantastic. This came out the exact same year as The Shining.
No, is it? So yeah, so they both copied each other then.
We don't know who, did anybody know what was happening, or was it just a complete fluke? In fact, I don't remember The Shining came out in the year. It might be just about the same time of year they both came out. But yeah, literally the exact same thing. Other high points, I've got a few more towards the end.
Mine's just all deaths, and then I've got the end. So
Mrs. Voorhees showing up is a good scene, because here's the killer, and all of a sudden the killer is revealed, and it's nice. Not even revealed, it's like, it's another one of these green cars, and this nice old lady has come out.
Yeah.
I've got her showing up as a low point. Where has she been driving to? Because she's been in the camp killing people.
Well, so that was one question.
Driving back.
Yeah. So in the scene prior to her driving into camp, what's her face gets chucked in. Brenda gets chucked in the window. Tom Savini, by the way, did that stunt. It was Tom Savini that was being chucked in the window.
Shut myself.
Yes, that was quite a good jump scare as well. Although I thought it was coming, I think. So has Mrs. Voorhees lobbed Brenda through the window and then been like,
drive.
I know how to get her out of this building. I'll run back up to wherever I've stored my car and drive back down the driveway and be, hi, I'm Mrs. Voorhees. So it is a fair question, Chris. Because at one point I was workshopping a theory in my head that Jason was actually helping her the whole time. But I don't think that's the case. Because Jason,
I don't know enough about the other films. If there's like a brief history of what happened,
I believe you don't either, Andy. You don't have a good knowledge for you to be able to answer questions like we did.
No, he definitely was. I think my theory is that he woke up when his mum died.
Right. Okay.
That is the kind of theory. So like he was in the bottom of the lake. That's why he's disfigured and he looks like he's been rotting in that lake for whatever 8 years or whatever.
Well, I guess it's 30 years. Yeah, I guess
30 years, whatever. Yeah,
it's still growing.
Maybe 20.
Yeah, well, you grow in your mum's stomach, don't you? And you're all watery and shit. So
I'm sure there's some theory behind how Jason is an evil something or other that means that he could have lived all this time.
Yeah. Maybe he was like doing Sonic style, like getting air bubbles off a fish or something like that.
Good theory. I liked her showing up. I thought it was quite, because obviously the whole film you're supposed to think, who's it going to be? And then it's random old woman,
yeah,
maybe middle-aged woman. It was
her because of Scream. I generally would have like been shocked at the fact
it would have been a great twist, yeah, if it wasn't ruined.
Yeah,
like for me, like the first viewing, like I was just like, oh, when's Jason showing up? When's Jason showing up? And it's like, it's the mum.
I still thought at some point he was going to turn up.
Yeah, I was the same. Like the very first time I watched that, but yeah, knowing now, it's like I said, this has been culted everywhere in different films and that. So it's ruined. It's kind of like Saw movies. You can't really watch them again and enjoy them. Like that first moment is your first time. Yeah.
One more high point, which is I really liked Alice running around and finding a dead body wherever she went. That made me laugh. She just kept going, she'd run away different directions.
It was like a House of Horrors where Steve just must be sitting up a tree, and then as she got close enough, whoop, down he comes.
Down, yeah. That was the best one, was him falling out the tree. So the last thing I've got in my notes in the high point section is talk to me about the ending. I want to have a discussion about the ending.
Well, that's what high point. That bit, right, where like she's just chilling. You see the place. It's like, oh, she's safe. You're chilling.
I thought, because there was a scene before that where she's making coffee and we're just slowly following her around, and then it ends. I thought, oh, that's it. She's safe. She's killed the mum. We're slowly just lingering on her. Bah! Fucking out of nowhere. I generally shit myself because I was not expecting it at all.
Good,
it's such a nice calming scene, and just a guy. It's like brilliant.
Because you're supposed to think, oh, she's finally safe. That she's finally made it. So yeah, the police show up. And they are looking at her, and they're like, "Oh, you okay over there?" And then she kind of wakes up, and then like sees them.
Yeah.
And then Jason attacks her, pulls her into the water. this seemingly happened.
Maybe,
Like, because
maybe they sneezed and they like, what the fuck happened? She tipped over the boat.
But it's like,
maybe
I
they just
suppose
weren't
from
looking.
back there, it depends how far out she was. You wouldn't be able to see him.
yeah, I guess so. But then she said it like the people who were speaking to the doctor, or whatever it was, who were there, were like, "Oh no, no, it was a policeman there. We pulled you out
Yeah.
of the water. There
Yeah.
wasn't a boy." Like, you would have said, "Oh, when we got there, you were in the boat, and then you fell into the water." He didn't say that. He said, "No, we pulled you out of the water." So it's almost as if, like, she was on the boat and got attacked into the water, and then the police showed up. Like, it doesn't seem like it quite fits. Like, it's almost like they were standing watching as this thing attacked.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's what it looks like. Yeah.
And then just ignored the fact that, oh no, well, there wasn't a boy there.
Yeah.
Well,
it
so
was
if he
just
did
you.
attack her, then why did he let her go?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What was he doing, and why did he stop doing it as well? But I think that this is different from the Wizard of Oz, where I always thought she still had the ruby slippers on, and it was maybe a real place. That was a dream. This one, I don't actually know. I don't know what I'm supposed to think at the end.
I still think that bit was a dream.
I don't know. I like my theory of that was him getting woken up because obviously Jason hates water. So he's just like, "Wah, grab something," and he's still panicking. He doesn't know he's fucked off.
Well, I have been awoken by my mother's death, and you're the first person that I have found.
Yeah,
so therefore, I think you are maybe key responsible for the death of my mother, and thought, I'm going to get you, and then realize, actually, nah, I'm all right. I'm going to let you go. There's police over there.
Yeah.
So I'm not. The ending is a great ta-da ending, but I'm kind of a bit confused of how they actually don't and do wrap it up at the end.
Yeah.
Point 3, low points, worst bits and things about the film. Does anyone have any early ones? Because I have an early
That creepy
one.
bastard behind you.
So before we get to Steve, though, speaking of creepy bastards, did Enos really have to fully both hands grab Annie's arse as he helped her into the truck when he picked her up? I thought that was very inappropriate. Okay,
Get
Steve.
up there,
yeah, it was like, oh, up you get, and then just goes whoop, and grabs both hands on both her cheeks, pushes her in. I mean, he seemed like a nice man. I don't think there was any malice in it. Yes, have at it, Chris. Steve.
walking about in these Daisy Dukes, and then just stroking Alice's face like, yeah, I'll get you. Don't you worry.
I thought they were together. I thought the two of them were a couple who were running the camp. And that's not the case.
Well, and then fucking fly.
Oh, that's the first time Jason's coming.
I know, it won't leave me alone. And then he just disappears into town. It seems like he's being alright if get stuff done before it rains. And then we never see him again for like an hour.
He also goes off in a bit of a mood as well. Because Annie's not showed up, and then he kicks off about something else kind of minor. And it's like, yeah, he's a bit weird. And yeah, he's the first never nude for the viewers of Arrested Development. I've seen him.
That's brilliant.
And I will mention his outfit later on. It is coming up in the nominations, but is the neckerchief significant? Like, why has he thought, you know what I need for my outfit here? Like, shorts are fine, but I'm so hot. I need to take my shirt off, but I'll keep my scarf on. My neck is not going to get.
Maybe he's got a sweaty neck.
Body.
He's got a sweaty neck. He doesn't want it running down his chest.
He was waiting for them to stop so he could take it off and go, oh. Yeah, so
covered in the neck sweat to get him dab his face. Yeah. I think it's one of these situations where he would look better with less on. Like if he didn't have the handkerchief around his neck, he'd look better. But because it's an outfit choice because he's got the handkerchief.
There's a theme as well because the first time we see the other guy is naked with suspenders on.
Yeah, I was already writing down how weird an outfit it was Steve had on. Yeah, the guy's like painting shirtless, but still with like the bottom half of a painter's outfit on. Like Super Mario without the shirt.
Crystal Lake's weird.
Weird. Yeah, 1979, 1980s fashion was a bit weird, I guess. Did anyone for a single second believe that Ned was drowning in the lake?
No. It's been done too many times.
But also, it's like he was in the water fine.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, it's time to go. All of a sudden, he's 10 yards out off the edge. Like, blah, help, blah.
To be fair, when I swim in the sea and a bit of seaweed touches me, that's exactly where I am. I could be fine. As soon as it touches my foot, I think it's a shark, and that's me panicking.
Yeah. Running towards the beach.
It's an absolute power move, though, just to get a kiss.
Yeah.
Him in general, he was just a knob, and I don't miss him at all.
But they all were like, none of them were amazingly likable. Like from my point of view, it's just like
Becca was likable.
I think most of them were all right. Like I thought, one of the major problems I have with the film basically is I really liked Annie, and I'm quite gutted she got killed. I thought she was going to be a nice main character for us to follow along with, but she was the first one gone. But yeah, Alice is okay, I guess. Marcy, didn't really know much about her, and then it's like, yeah, Kevin Bacon was fine.
Brenda was a bit quiet, although she was the one that kind of started the whole strip monopoly.
The weird strip monopoly game, which they still had money. It was only if you paid rent you had to take clothes off. It was a bit weird. And then we've got Bill, who was he was fine. I was thinking he was maybe a suspect
I thought he
at
was
one
going to
point.
be a hero for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's horror movies. Got to be a final girl in a horror movie.
You did cross one of my points and you're rattling through like all the low points here. Strip Monopoly, that's a low point.
Okay.
It's going to take so long, isn't it?
I mean, Monopoly is never a short game. You're right.
It's just like if you're going to play strip anything, you want it to be quick and over with. It's just you don't want to eke it out with Monopoly. Going, oh fucking hell! Like, oh, here you go. Here's a sock. Here's this.
I feel like 3 people is too low a number.
Yes, 100%.
To want to play a strip whatever game with. It feels it's weird that it's just 3 of you. I think.
I don't understand how Alice got so far without having to take anything off.
And then there's Brenda in her undies.
Yeah. I'm not Steve. What's he called? Bill.
Bill,
he was usually nude.
She must have had Mayfair or something like that. I don't know. Dealing with the snake is my next low point.
That was a real snake, wasn't
it? It was a real snake.
Right, okay,
yes.
That's
it was an actual snake that they killed.
Yes, I was like, that's fucking good. Now I was like, that's a real snake. That's the low point straight away.
That is a low point. But actually, the actual dealing with the snake as well, as far as the scene goes, was bad.
Yeah. Oh, look, there's a snake. Let's just chuck everything around and get.
Let's all run over to it and not be able to see it. And then, like you say, let's burst open pillowcases and move the jump on
face level with it so it can strike into tackles. That's a great idea.
And then, they actually murdered a snake, which is not very
low
nice.
Point. Can't murder things nowadays.
No, definitely not. Speaking of murdering, literally the next line in my notes, I think I would murder Ned myself without the need for a serial killer. And that's probably why he was next to go. I think Mrs. Voorhees was just like, I need to get rid of this pillock completely. Ned is so annoying. Every single scene he's in, if he's not being racist and pretending to be a Native American, he's just being a prick to everybody or pretending to die and all that sort of stuff. Just horrible company. And I would want him gone.
Yeah, he's confident with his archery skills, though. Just for smashing Brenda.
Trivia note, it was Tom Savini that fired the arrow in reality. Again, the legend.
Since we've spoken about him quite a fair bit, it is fairly obvious that Mrs. Voorhees is a guy right up until she stepped out of the car.
That's the Tom Savini's assistant, doesn't it? That plays like that was intentionally when they're hiding who the killer is in the first 3/4 of the film. It was meant to be a guy's body, so we think it's a guy.
Back of the hand.
But when she gets the chop, it's quite clearly like a man's hairy forearms going, ooh, like it was not well disguised.
Yep.
Yes, I don't have his name.
And that's pretty much when like my kind of overlying like low point actually happens. It's a great reveal, but it is a badly executed reveal because it's just like the point of view stuff, all the killings and all that's good, but it's quite clearly a dude all the way through. And it takes so much away once you like on a repeat watch. Like Saw, you could pick up bits going, oh, that's very clever. That's very clever. It's like you have just changed whatever you're doing at the end here.
You lied to us, and then you're like, haha, we got you. It's like when you show us everything.
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. I've got, is there too much running away and hiding from a middle-aged woman in a nice sweater at the end? Like,
yes.
I feel like she's so scared of this just normal-looking woman. And then does the reveal come like 10 minutes too early? Like, I feel like she runs away and is scared and runs away and is scared and then runs away and is scared again and then kills her off. Like, it feels like it goes on too long.
Well,
like...
it definitely goes on when she's barricading herself in the fucking house. It's like, there's a piano! Use the fucking piano!
We're in low points. It'll come up very much later on. She barricades herself in the room, but the door opens outwards. So
it does, yeah.
Because she ties a knot.
She locks it so it can't go out, yeah.
So that's good. I'm like, yes, you've done the right thing there. However, you're not, I think, would maybe just unravel. Yeah. But then you've just piled up stuff. She'll just open the door and then just and push it out the way, basically. Yeah. It wasn't a very good barricade. But yeah,
that until you mentioned.
I think we get too much of this just kind of angry, I don't know, 50-year-old woman chasing the girl around. I think it was a bit much. I'm also not exactly sure why she hopped in the boat at the end, Alice.
Oh, just in case, I don't know, she comes back and she's just
The head was
Where does
off.
it get from the
I
water?
know, I mean, like, fully severed. Like, I mean, there's no way that's reattaching itself.
Well,
Maybe
I was still kind of thinking somebody else was attacking. I thought maybe it was her and this weird
So
handed
Chris would be the
guy.
paranoid one then. So he'd be
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
fuck it. I'm going to get out of here. I'm too tired to take on another killer. I'm going to go out and have a wee sleep in the boat.
yeah.
That's a good point. She might be thinking, "There's no way this crazy old lady is."
There you go. Maybe
this.
she's smart. She's next level.
Yeah, yeah.
That could be the,
Fair
that could be
enough.
the best plan now.
Dead. Lying in
Yeah.
a boat alive.
Right?
Get attacked by
Any
a
more low
zombie.
points?
Just the whole
the
like I said,
fight before
yeah,
the
the
end.
fight at
was
the end.
horrendous.
Fucking hell.
See, I quite
Yeah,
enjoyed it because of how real it was. But carry
Well,
on.
yeah, but like she's like super killer. She like Chris said, she'd pick people up, stab them through with an arrow. Like these are full grown men. But then it's just a shit little bitch fight at the end. And it's just like
It was a little orb who tries to stab her and just kind of
Aye.
flops down in it, and then they're kind of like, meh, like doing a little get off me.
you can
kind
tell
of
they're doing
thing.
their own stunts, but yeah, no, like
Yeah,
this is Voorhees.
I like
Unless
that.
she's like went into her schizo where she's like, oh, I'm not super powerful killer now. I'm like, oh, I'm
Doesn't have the
old lady
bloodlust.
killer now. Yeah.
Yeah, the bloodlust. Yeah, fair enough. Is that us then?
I think so.
Stats. Point number 4. I think only one shit, and that is when he gets caught being a Native American by the policeman. I think. Basically.
Oh yeah.
But there must be another one or two, but I could only count one. And there's no F-bombs.
Wasn't that?
No, there was no
Ah.
F-bombs. I'm positive, which is weird because it's like an X-rated movie. It was proper,
Yeah.
like, you have to be an adult to go see it, or whatever X actually means. That might be 15, I don't know. But yeah, I thought they might have dropped some swearing in. And no explosions either, definitely not. Deaths, 10. Factually and accurately 10. We had both Barry and Claudette back in 58. And then we had Annie, slit throat by the roadside. And then we had Ned, slit throat on a bunk bed. Kevin Bacon, stabbed throat in a bunk bed. Marcy, I'm now forgetting who everybody is. What was Marcy? She was axe in the head.
Yeah.
Brenda, we don't know. Brenda dies off screen and then appears wrapped up in ropes chucked through a window. I'm not sure what the ropes were. That apparently there's arguments over whether her death scene was ever filmed, Brenda, out on the archery range. Sometimes people say, oh yeah, there's a scene filmed where she gets like shot with an arrow. And other people are like, no, that was never
happen.
Yeah, well, that's the implication, I imagine. But yeah, we don't actually know why she's tied up in ropes or anything like that either. So she just appears. Steve gets stabbed in his Dick Halloran back to the camp right at, oh, it's you, stabbed, dead. Bill, as Chris says, lifted off the ground and stabbed in the back of the door. And at the end, Mrs. Voorhees gets beheaded. One thing we should maybe have mentioned in the low points was how obviously fake her death was, by the way, Mrs. Voorhees. It was quite clearly like the hands, yes, but the fact that it was like not, it didn't even look human what was going on, all the rest of the stuff. But yes, 10 deaths. I would have counted Jason, but apparently Jason isn't dead, so we can't count him. Quotas, no cows and no goats. They're in the wilderness, but not that kind of wilderness. Dead animal, yes, actually a snake, actually dead in the film. And
Peter's
paedophiles,
be all over this film.
I bet they would have been, yeah. Paedophiles, none. I say Enos did have a bit of a squeezy.
Yeah.
Steve, yeah.
But I think Annie, these guys are adults, aren't they? The
Yeah.
counselors at camp, so he's not actually doing anything like wrong pedophilia wise. Tom Cruise, Tackleberry trifecta. There's a police motorcyclist in this film.
Yes.
However, he doesn't fall, he doesn't get the girl, doesn't run, and also doesn't jump out of an airplane without a parachute either. So he fails both trifectas. Does the police motorcycle? It's a strange scene, isn't it? The attitude that the policeman on the motorbike has.
Yeah.
It's quite an unusual one. Like, he wasn't unreasonable, but he was talking as if he was being strict, and they were acting as if he was being.
Quite dislike to dickhead though. So
well, I don't argue. Maybe that's why I thought it was all right. However, I would nominate it for worst riding of a motorcycle ever in a film.
Fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I was positive he was going to stack it at some point, like day one on a motorcycle. This policeman.
He's quite clearly went in for the job. You're in a motorbike. Yeah, I can do it.
Just tell him I can. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. So we want you to go there and do that. He's like, whoa.
So bad. It's so hilarious. But yes, no trifectas, unfortunately. Top billed actress Betsy Palmer is on screen for a combined 13 minutes.
That's brilliant.
Just all consecutive because it's not her in the other scenes, as we mentioned before. It's somebody else. Did they say the thing? Friday the 13th.
Yes, they did.
No.
They did. They said it once.
Yep. it
The
was
cop
8.
says it. Imagine Friday the 13th and a full moon on the same date.
I missed. I
And it's
forgot to pay
the
attention.
only time it's said because the director said, wait a minute, we've got a title, Friday the 13th. We've got to have that in the script somewhere. So they actually just put it in. Like, literally, they wanted to say the thing. I meant to mention another one. Jason is first mentioned by name after 1 hour and 16 minutes. We just know it's a boy that died and all that. And they say his name is Jason. It was an hour and 16. Chris, any stats from you?
Well, you kind of touched on mine. I was counting all the different ways people died. And it was like a hunting knife, an arrow, an axe, and a machete. There's a lot of hunting knives.
A lot of blade, wasn't it? Yeah, blades going on. Any others?
No, that was it. I
Yeah,
can't think of what else to count.
Couldn't count Fridays or 13th or anything like that. Andy, have you already spent your fun fact?
I did spunk my main fun fact, which was the one. However, this was actually like a genuine, well, not Camp Crystal Lake, but they use a proper thing and it's still used today.
Yes, it is.
Can you imagine if you send your kids to Camp Crystal Lake?
I would want to.
Is it like
They're absolutely hoaching with people.
It's got like a weird name, it's like Boo Boo.
It does.
Or something like that. But
yeah, it's like a really hyphenated, isn't it?
But yeah, can you imagine like just like where you going? It's like, oh, you know that film Friday the 13th where Jason kills people. Yep, that's where you're going, kids. What? I'm a fuck. I'm not going to that. I'm not going to that.
Everybody, because you never know, they might come back and kill you.
I mean, at least 6 of the films are set in this set. I'm not going in that water. I'm telling you that right. Well, it's 50-50 because he doesn't like water, but there's a lot of deaths in that water for somebody who doesn't like water. So I'm out.
So my fun fact was Tom Savini did special hair and makeup because I saw it in the credits. Oh, that's funny, Tom Savini. Then I found out he's one of the main people involved in the film. So this is like, we know that now. But my other fun fact, Bill, the actor who plays Bill, is Harry Crosby and is the son of Bing Crosby, which is very strange. And they knew that when making the film, but they decided for some reason back in 1980, let's not advertise our film as starring the son of Bing Crosby. They just said, all right, come on, Harry, come and try a bit of acting. They didn't cast him as like, the comparison was Jamie Lee Curtis getting cast in Halloween a year or two before this, and she was like a famous child of famous actors. They didn't go down that route with this one. Just, oh yeah, we won't bother publicizing the fact. So it was very strange. But yeah, he didn't do much acting otherwise. But I thought it was an unusual tidbit of information. Andy, the quiz is point number 5. On to you.
Jesus.
This is going to be 13 questions about Fridays.
TTI Fridays.
Yeah, so who wants to go first?
Chris's turn.
But yeah, it's my turn.
Okay, Chris. Let's start off easy. Which actress stars as Annabelle in the 1976 Freaky Friday movie?
I know the more recent one.
Mm.
That's not, but I'm going to say Jamie Lee Curtis.
It's not correct.
No.
Bruce, for a steal.
I don't know, to be honest. Melanie Griffith or someone like that.
It was Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster, right.
Oh, yeah.
Right, Bruce. If a non-leap year starts on a Friday, how many Fridays does the year have?
Right, I'm not even going to think about this too long. I'm just going to guess 52.
Wrong, Chris.
Damn it.
53.
It is 53.
Yes.
He's back in the game. Right, Chris. How many movies feature Jason Voorhees?
13.
How many did you say?
13.
It's not 13.
Now, the fact that he said, you heard it, I could hear him saying teen, so it's in the teens. I'm going to say 15.
It's not 15. It is 12.
Damn.
You've basically
13.
You've got 6 that are all set in Camp Crystal Lake. You've got Freddy versus Jason, which is in suburbia. You've got Jason Goes to Manhattan. You've got Jason Goes to Hell. You've got Jason Goes to Space. And then you've got Jason Voorhees, the remake.
Right, okay.
So you've got 12 films in total featuring the character Jason.
Jason. Very good.
And he is in the first one before Chris goes,
he is in this one,
I'm trying to think of like a random film that he makes a cameo in or something.
I don't think the only cameo really makes is like Freddy versus Jason. I don't think he just rocks up behind Michael Myers going, "No, hi mate, see Freddy."
Coming to the soiree.
Right, where we're going, Bruce.
Me first.
Which two actors from The Fifth Element star in the movie Friday?
Right. I know one, but I can't remember his name.
Two, not one.
I'm thinking. I've got one, but Chris Tucker.
Okay. Chris Tucker is one.
That's the one whose name I couldn't remember. Somebody else is in Friday.
Yeah.
Is in The Fifth Element.
Yep.
Fifth Element. Gary Oldman?
Not Gary Oldman. Chris for the steal.
Ian Holm.
No, it was Tom Lister Jr.
Ah, of course he is.
That'll make sense
Who's
now,
he?
doesn't it?
Zeus from the
Zeus,
WWF back
yes.
in the 80s. That's who he is to me.
Chris,
Yes.
which band sang the song Friday I'm in Love?
Green Day. No idea.
It's not Bruce.
It's The Cure.
It's The Cure. Yes, it is. Right,
Never heard of
Bruce. On the sixth day, aka Friday, what did God create?
Oh, I do not know. Let's just go man.
I'll give you it. It was animals and humans, aka Adam.
There we go.
Adam was created on that day, so man,
Okay.
yes, I'll give you
that.
that.
Tiny bastard.
Chris, another song-related one. Which female artist recorded the song Friday?
Oh, what's her name?
Katy Perry.
Not Katy Perry. Chris for another song-related
Right.
steal.
The only hope I've got is her first name Rebecca.
Yes.
Right. I have no idea what her surname is. Rebecca.
3.
Rebecca Jones.
Nope, it was Rebecca Black. A good shout though, but you're not getting a point for that.
I just had that there, like Rebecca somebody.
Bruce, who presented TFI Friday?
Chris Evans was the main
bastard,
presenter.
I
of
knew that
TFI
one.
Friday.
It was Chris Evans, yes. Chris, which TV series starring Tasman Gregg and Simon Bird was aired on Channel 4?
Friday Night Dinner.
Friday Night Dinner, yes.
Oh yeah.
Bruce, where the fuck am I?
That's a question. Did you say it was 13 questions? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Chris went first. That
Don't
means he's got an extra
worry, I'll get to it.
Okay. I'm worried about my lead here.
Where am I? Bruce. Friday is the. Friday is one of the main characters in the 1790 novel turned movie. What is it? Who's the main character called Friday?
Who is the main? What?
Friday
What's the
is one of the main characters in which
in
1790 novel / turned
Right.
movie.
Right. So who Friday is in a book, and it's called what? Oh, I know the reference. Is it like The Island or something like that?
Nope, Chris.
What with Flies.
Nope, it was Robinson Crusoe. Bruce was
Oh,
kinda close. He got the watery bits right.
I knew what it was about, but I couldn't work out. I don't know which one it was. You know.
Chris, which Marvel superhero has a personal assistant called Friday?
Tony Stark / Iron Man.
Yes, I will give you that.
I like it when he knows the answer, but he knows you're going to try and screw him if he gets it a bit wrong.
Bruce Campbell and Devon Sawa star in which comedy horror film?
Presumably, it's got Friday.
Oh, that's what's something me.
It's not
You have to
Freaking
hurry.
Friday, because of-
3,
Friday.
It's not Friday, Chris.
I don't think it was Idle Hands, but obviously I can't do that.
Yes,
Nope, it was Black Friday.
Black
Yeah.
Friday. Okay.
Okay, what's the score, Bruce? Before we get
It is 3-3. You'll be happy to hear.
There
It
we
is
go.
currently-
See, it
currently a
worked. I
draw.
knew this would happen. Right. Question 13 is for both of you.
Uh-huh.
Who wants to go first?
I thought it was
Chris, I
Twitter.
guess. Yeah.
Chris, you're going to tell me a number, and then Bruce is going to tell me a number. Closest wins.
Hey, look,
Okay.
it's fun.
Yes.
How many TGI Friday franchises are there in the UK?
In the UK. Right.
Just
I've
the
got a number in
UK.
my head. Let's see what Chris says.
I would say 2,000.
You know, for 2,000.
I have no idea whether it's big or small.
I'm like
Put
Showboat then.
it this way, right, Chris? You're 2,000. It's locked in. I don't even think there's 2,000 McDonald's franchises in the UK. So
Right.
Surely.
I'm going to say what I was going to say.
yes,
And then if I lose, I lose. I thought for some reason, the number 650 came to my head. So I'm going to go 650.
you are the closest. There's
Oh,
87.
God. 87.
Oh.
I
So
don't think, even 650 seemed like a large to me, but I just thought it was a number that came to my
I
head.
don't know, like a pack. I don't know how things could be everywhere. I don't know.
it was funny.
What
I
would
was going to originally write a quiz to start panic you straight away because what we've noticed on the podcast is if we give you a hard question to start off with, you go to downward spiral, Chris. You are just shockingly
Flakes
bad.
out.
Especially, and even worse if he gets screwed over early on, he just loses all interest in a quiz. So Bruce wins. He knows his
the last
Fridays.
one. That was fucking right over.
That was a roller coaster, that one. I think we were both winning at one point. Okay, point 6 on the podcast, movies within movies. Chris, you can redeem yourself with the 10-point podcast universe.
I counted two of the ones that you noticed. Kevin Bacon is Jack, who was in Tremors. Is it just Tremors? I swear he was in something else. No?
He was the
Okay,
dad
good.
in Space Oddity.
Yeah.
Fuck! How did I miss that? I knew he was in something else.
I was as well. I was like, what's the other thing? And it was like, it's at the end of my list the way it's ordered. I was like, oh my God, yeah,
Yeah.
we did that.
Okay, and Tom Savini, who was the killer's hands, but apparently was a lot more, like you keep saying.
Yes,
He was a stuntman, basically. He was in a few scenes, yeah.
He was a sex machine in From Dusk Till Dawn, and he was a tracker in Django.
He was in Django. Both of these guys are now Hall of Fame eligible. This is the two of them have made 3 appearances. Tom Savini, to me, might be Dinklage rule as well because of his involvement in this.
Kevin
We loved him in
Bacon
Sex
isn't getting nominated for that fucking Space Oddity guff.
No, I think he might do.
He needs
We
to
need more
use a
Bacon.
third one.
Because he was good in Tremors. We liked him in Tremors.
Yeah,
but he's barely
yeah.
in this. And Space Oddity is just, I think it was the worst film I've ever done from the aspect of entertainment value, I think. Have you recast the 3 of us into roles in the film, Chris?
I did. I mean, probably of all the people there, unfortunately, I think I'm Ned.
Right, okay.
I think I'm the annoying one.
Harsh. That's
Yeah.
harsh.
And I put you as a truck driver because he was very opinionated. He was driving along going, oh, you bloody kids don't know what you've got and all that.
I'll take that.
And Bruce, I put you as Crazy Ralph. I can
Oh,
see
thank you. Oh,
as being the guy who's like, you're doomed. I've seen this in a film. Use next.
very good. I'll take Crazy Ralph. Oh, I love Ralph. I've got Andy as Steve. I don't know why. I think it was the driving and the going to the diner made me think Andy is Steve.
Still love food.
I don't know why. I just wanted Chris to be Jason, just jumping out the pond at the end.
He does
for me,
nothing
it's
and wakes
Ned.
up. Ah!
Yeah, I was being asleep for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done
And I put me as-
right before Paul Sleeman.
I put me as Ned, so I don't have to watch Ned in this film because I'm doing the role instead. So that's the way I did it. I didn't do my references because this film, I've worked out the calculation, the mathematical equation for this film. It's Halloween multiplied by Psycho divided by The Shining plus Carrie. That's the mathematical formation how to get Friday the 13th. It's all of those different films in that sort of little calculation there. I didn't realize. So they wanted an ending, and the guy was like, "I want an ending like they had in Carrie." No spoilers for Carrie. We might do it at some point. And then what they ended up doing was they ended up being more like the ending of Deliverance, which I've actually seen Deliverance all the way through.
I've heard about it.
Which is what, when they're writing Carrie, they wanted an ending like the end of Deliverance when they wrote Carrie. So they ended up doing a little circle of ended up doing an ending like the first film that was inspired, the second one, which inspired the third one to be like the first one again. So there's a perfect circle of similar endings from those 3 films. Could this film have come out in 1995? I say no, because the Friday the 13th movies basically stopped in 1993 and they made none until Jason X in 2001. So it was a real kind of barren. They'd run them into the ground and they were terrible, apparently, by Jason 9 to get Jason 10 coming out. And Candy says it's his favourite, I think. So no 1995 Friday the 13th.
I don't know, my favourite is Freddy versus Jason. That's a banger, a Jason film.
Right, okay. Does the film reference The Wizard of Oz? I don't believe so. Nothing jumped out at me.
No, but there's water in it again, isn't there?
So somebody died in water.
Somebody died in water once again, yeah.
That's your theme.
It's not my theme, but I do have an accidental theme that I think might continue. So we'll get
Well,
on
I
to that.
thought I nailed it. I was like, forgetting what you picked. And I was like, fucking summer camps. He's picking summer camps.
Yeah.
Everything summer camps. I was like, man, they're the Wizard of Oz. I was like, was it summer? Was hurricane season Kansas in summer?
That could be. No, I wasn't initially going to pick Friday the 13th, but I had a horror movie gap. And if I saw that my pick was going to fall on the week of Friday the 13th, I thought I absolutely nailed on picking that. Dead Man Walking, Ned. You don't be the annoying guy and survive who's Dead Man Walking. Who's in the wrong movie? I think Steve Christie, the guy who owns the camp, because I guess he's supposed to be the killer, but then he's not, and then he's not in the film. Like he's separate. He has his own little separate storyline that's not involved. Nobody else is really in the wrong film. Kevin Bacon maybe should be just another anonymous face, possibly, is in the wrong movie. Which trope from this film would I like to see die? It's a horror film, so our perfectly good car has just stopped working. That's the trope that I would like to see. Chris, what's your trope?
The hiding camera where it's supposed to look like somebody's watching, but there's nobody there. Like it does the thing where there's somebody walk past and it moves back, and it's like,
yeah,
do that. You're just camera watch, like just you're not an actual person, if you know what I mean.
Yes, it's just camera work, isn't it? Andy, what's your trope?
Mine's a fake drowning to get a kiss off the bird you fancy.
Yes, please, thank you. No more fake drowning to get the pretend kiss of life. Point 7, that one thing. What is the one thing from the 1980 Friday the 13th that we will take with us forever?
The mum did it.
It's important. The mum did it? Okay, what about you, Chris?
It's that camp film. I always remember it's been a camp.
Is it just it's the camp film?
There's loads of camp films. Daddy Day Camp.
No, but when you think of a camp, I think of Friday the 13th.
Wait, Hot American Summer?
Right, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. It's the one. It's the best.
If you asked me to name a film, name a camp, I would go.
Name a camp from a film. Yeah, exactly.
100%. He's kind of right.
The one thing might be Jason in the Lake at the end for me, but I think it might be the ma.
Yeah,
I think that's the most. I think that's the legendary thing from this film. I think because like I've just explained, Jason in the Lake happens in other films too for a similar thing. Point 8, nominations for the 10-Point Podcast Awards. A bit of a mixture I've got here, sir. Chris, so why don't you tell us what you've got and we'll debate.
Right, so I put Betsy Palmer's Best Supporting only because she's only in it for like 3 minutes. Well, 13, like you said.
It was awful.
I've left the acting completely.
Yeah,
I've not even gone bad. She might have been okay. I'll maybe say aye, fair enough.
But if you want to pick a best actor, I'm going Ari Lehman as Jason. That was some good acting. He had 2 seconds and he nailed it.
He did nail it. You're right. Let's stick Betsy Palmer in as a supporting then.
Biggest bellend is Ned.
Yep, and most annoying kid.
I was going to ask you about that because he's not technically a kid.
He's not technically a kid.
To be, but
I want to double down on the annoying. Yeah.
Best villain, I put Mrs. Voorhees. Like she killed a whole bunch of people only because her son drowned. Like
I can't quite work out if she's a good or bad villain. Andy, do you have an opinion on whether she's a good or bad villain?
No, she does kill everybody. It's like she almost had a perfect plan until she got, I don't know, defeated by a woman putting a bunch of stuff on an open outdoor.
Why did she stop? That's a good question. Because she was going pretty well, and it's like I don't think Alice had her in as bad a way as other people had her. Like it wasn't like she was, I'm completely gubbed here. There's no way I can.
Maybe it's just Mrs. Voorhees' like psyche, like because like that's when you first always see her, and she's saying like maybe it's just Jason's pumping into her brain too much, and she's kind of lost her kind of track.
She needs to tell the story.
Lost, as Chris said.
You're the last one alive. I need to tell you
everything,
and then that's it. Good villain then. We'll leave her as good villain.
Okay. Best death. It was either Mrs. Voorhees or Marcy's. The axe to the face or her.
I've got Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon is the best death. Definitely.
I had that until the axe to the face.
Nah, Kevin Bacon.
Axe to the face is fun, but I think Kevin Bacon, it's the one that made me jump. I wasn't expecting it, and I think it's executed amazingly.
The only thing is the neck is really long. You can tell it's really fake. That's the only reason I didn't nominate it.
They had a one go at it to get it done, otherwise they had to reset the whole thing. And they did it, and then the blood didn't pump through properly. So either Tom Savini or his assistant had to start blowing in the tube. And that's why it kind of bubbles, is because one of them is under the bed working at something go because the pump stopped working. So that's why it kind of bubbles the way it does. There's a trivia note on that. But Bacon, I'm sorry, Chris, it's the best one.
Okay, I'll accept that though. Best animate object, I put a Jenny, the generator.
No, that massive fucking torch.
Massive torch.
Yeah, she gets
Oh,
a push.
the one
she
she
goes
took
a
to the
torch and it's
toilet.
like incredibly fucking long. It's got probably about 100 batteries in it, and it's like still not actually that fucking bright. It's a huge thing. I like a huge torch in films, but this was probably the biggest torch I've ever seen in a film.
Unnecessary large torch. Okay.
I don't really know what else to put. I just put a Jenny because of Dead by Daylight.
It's true.
Yeah.
Worst plan is Ned faking drowning so he can get a kiss.
Worst plan: barricading the inside of a door that opens outwards.
Yes.
My God, worst plan.
You're right.
I never even noticed that when
Yeah, it's
what
fucking
mentioned it. So
spectacular. Oh no, we lost Bruce. Now he's back.
easier.
Still giggling.
Have we? Oh, I'm
It's
here.
fine.
I was
You were
laughing.
laughed all the way through your frozenness. It's
He
all good.
laughed so
Good.
much that he froze your computer.
It was that funny for barricading that door.
Best weapon, I put the machete.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I don't know her.
Well,
The arrows
I
were-
put the machete.
the arrows
because
were more
it's iconic
effective.
with him.
Yes, I
But-
suppose he probably did pick the machete up, and that's what he uses later down the line. So
Good point. It's the Jason weapon, isn't it? Yeah, I leave the machete then.
The biggest jump scare is literally a second behind this.
Yeah. So it's that. It's Jason. It's
It's-
not.
oh,
it's not
I-
Kevin Bacon.
oh, yeah, it's so calm, and no, I'm kind of with Chris on that one. It is so calm. It's trying.
It's famous. Yeah.
I
And
didn't
it's
jump
like,
like
fucking
Kevin
hell.
Bacon. It was awesome. I jumped more at the snake hissing because somebody
Right,
screamed.
yeah.
But I genuinely thought that was it. It was just nice and
Okay.
calm, and then blah.
Brilliant. Good. I'm glad.
Fucking didn't you, bastards. Blah, blah, blah. Best set, the camp.
I think so. Like it's a
Real
real camp.
camp.
But it felt like a real camp. It looked like a real camp. Yeah.
Best cameo was Tom Savini as the killer's hands.
Okay. Is that a cameo?
I don't know.
He kind of would be famous because obviously he's done Dawn of the Dead and stuff like that. So
Fair
people
point.
would
fair
know
point.
him. So yeah,
Okay. Tom
that's
Savini
actually a
kinda
proper.
being
I
in
would
it.
give
Well,
Chris.
I
That's
said-
not even a Chris
you
cameo.
could
That's a
tell.
cameo.
It was him until I looked through the thing, but I recognized Tom Savini's name.
I kind of think it's one of them ones that it's hard to know, but if you know, you know. Then I thought I would say
Yeah,
it's-
yeah. You can tell he's involved. Yeah.
yeah.
Di John Jules, Kevin Bacon. I was not
Kevin
expecting
Bacon.
him in this
Yeah.
at
Me
all.
too.
Yeah.
Me too. Me having seen this most recently, the three of us, I'd also forgotten he was in it. Me probably looked at Kevin Bacon's IMDb page most recently, also forgot he was in this. So it's like,
Michael Pennyward, I put Mrs. Voorhees explain why she does what she does.
Yeah.
probably is, yeah.
There's a lot of best animal. Need to remember a fallen comrade, the snake.
Snake.
He
Of
did
course
his
he
job.
did.
He nailed it.
Yeah, he did it, yeah.
Most pornographic is the sexy time with the Kevin Bacon and what's her face.
I think so, yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. What's wrong? What's on Ked is Ned. Best product placement, Monopoly.
Ah! Monopoly.
So I had a roller coaster on this one. It started off
Yeah.
with Coca-Cola because there's got two massive Coca-Cola signs right outside, and I was like, "That's that." Then I was like, "Ah, it's Budweiser because they're all drinking Budweiser."
Oh, were they? Right.
And then I was like, "No, it's Monopoly because they're playing strip Monopoly. That scene goes on way too long, and he just says Monopoly on the fucking screen for the longest time in the world." So
And I'll
Monopoly does
bet
win it.
Monopoly, their percentage revenue went up best because of this. Like people
Oh
would
yeah,
start
because
buying
everybody's
it
going to be
to
playing
do
strip
that.
Monopoly and realizing what a
Yeah.
stupid idea that is to play.
Whereas because Coke was in Friday the 13th, you wouldn't sell any more Coke or any more Budweiser. It keeps it present, but Monopoly would sell more because
Yes.
of that. Yeah. Is that you, Chris?
That's me, yeah.
Best character name, Jason Voorhees, is a good character.
See, I wasn't
name.
sure about saying that. Like, Voorhees is. I only know that because of this now.
Exactly.
There
That's
you
why
go.
it's a good name.
But, yeah, you can't. No one can be called. No one can have the surname Voorhees anymore because of this film.
I don't know.
And
imagine
Jason,
if that- yeah. Even
even the name
Jason's
Jason makes me think of him. So
Jason's
cop.
a bell end is pretty much.
yeah, exactly. Full Moon Guy is the best cop, I would say. I liked him because of his theory. Best death, Kevin Bacon. We did that, haven't we?
Yeah.
Best entrance, Jason.
Yep. Oh yeah,
he did it.
definitely.
Oh, is
I've
that
gone
exit
best-
because he's exiting water?
Obviously, he's entering
Yes, he's
film.
entering the scene.
He's entering land.
entering the film. Best fight, I have got Alice versus Mrs. Voorhees, but
Yeah,
that
it was
more
awful.
a bit ironic. You can leave that if you like. We've done jump
I
scare.
only put it because it was the only one, but I never said it because it was shit.
Best special effects. Can we nail one death down to being the best special effects?
I like
Maybe
Kevin Bacon one.
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon.
The neck gets me, annoys me. It's too long. But
I was still
it's-
just
it's
freaking
good.
out, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't notice the neck. I was like, whoa!
I didn't notice the neck as big as him.
Best stunt. I've just got Betsy Palmer doing her own stunts in the fight. I like that. I enjoyed that. Best twist. Jason in the pond. Is that the best twist? Best twist
Oh, yeah, I
is
liked it,
Mrs.
yeah.
Voorhees.
No, I would say Jason's are still alive. You don't see that
Mrs.
still
coming.
Voorhees
alive.
is a twist anymore because it got spoiled before you ever seen it.
Yeah, fair
For
point.
20-odd years, he's been holding his breath under there. It's like, how the fuck have you done it?
Well done. We've done the Bell End stuff. Most underused, Robbie Morgan as Annie. I really enjoyed Robbie Morgan in the first bit. I thought
Chris
she
is
was-
struggling here. He's dying.
I'll come to I need a cushion.
Yes, Annie in the beginning. She was very endearing. I thought we should have had more of her. We could easily swap the actress out for somebody else. She was far more likable. Worst costume. Boots, tight shorts, neckerchief, tash, perm, and nothing else. Steve Christie, ladies and gentlemen.
And a clipboard.
And a clipboard looking at someone's... Was that a drawing of him that he was looking at, yeah?
I can't remember what he was
It looked like she had drawn him.
He was going through the drawings and that's where he got really creepy. I like your drawings. You should draw more.
And that's me. I think Chris mentioned all the other ones. So we've at least mentioned them. And he's done his product placement. So point 9, the moral of the story. What lesson were we supposed to learn from? This is called Friday the 13th. I said Jason. Andy, what's your moral story?
Summer camps are bad.
Deadly.
Nothing good ever happened.
No, I don't think anything ever good's at summer camp.
I mean, all the films, yeah, one way or another. I mean, what was it? The part of the space station landed at Wet Hot American
Spaceship
Summer.
there. Pretty much every Jason involved at Friday the 13th films of summer camp. You're going to die.
Yeah.
There's some. I'm sure there's other ones that are not even involved in Jason. People are going to die at summer camp. You're going
Usually.
to drown inept camp
Wet
people.
Hot American Summer. At summer
Aye.
camp.
I did.
Yeah.
You had the body as well.
Have you given your one, Chris? If you're the same.
Yeah,
No,
it's
you
same
got
as
the
Andy's.
The same. Mine is don't make love while a young boy drowns. That's the moral of the story. I think that's Mrs. Voorhees' problem.
That happened afterwards, didn't it? That was a year
No, it's
after.
'cause
unless
they
it
weren't
happened
supervising.
in
No,
St.
that's why he died. Was
Aye.
what she claims
Right.
they weren't watching; they were making love instead. So then she would punish people for that
Yeah.
afterwards. Like people could be dying. So even though nobody's here yet, and it's 2 weeks till
Exactly.
the
The kids are not even
camp
here.
opens. Yeah. Point 10 on the 10-point podcast is a 10-point rating. I rated it. I go first. I think Chris hadn't seen it, or I thought Chris hadn't seen it, so he goes last, and I was accurate. I'll give it a 6 because it's at points it's terrible, but at points it's great. Like, there's some really good bits in it, some really good stuff. But other points it's like a bit rubbish. But I think it's clever. It's a one-time only deal. I'm rating it kind of on a if you haven't seen it kind of thing. I would recommend it as a 6. Haven't seen it, revisiting it, it's probably a 4 revisiting. But I enjoyed myself. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And like once it gets going, There's always, here's the next person, how are they going to die? Here's the next person, how they're going to die. Here's the next person, how they're going to die. Who's doing it? Oh, it's her. The end. So 6 out of 10. Andy.
You pretty much nailed what I was going to say, but I guess a 3 for all the reasons you stated. You said a 4. And I was like, oh, it's close. And I was like, but it is a 3 for me. That's why I came in this film. It's not rewatchable, but it is clever and it is boring at times. But yeah, you can't rewatch this film ever.
Chris, first viewing maybe, but haven't been spoiled. What's your score?
I thought it was utter dog shit, to be honest. Like the film has been so overhyped, and if I gone to maybe unspoiled, it might be a little bit better. I don't need to watch someone make a cup of coffee for 5 minutes.
That was one of the problems I had. A lot of scenes, like especially the guy
So
that
long.
was the real evidence. It's like they just filled out time with this.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Again, like the only thing it's got going for me is the deaths are really good, and that ending made me shit myself. So it gets a 3.
A 3.
That is the right
Chris.
number, Chris. You're right. I'll agree with you.
You guys combined for the same score as what I did. A 4 officially, which I guess that's fair because that's what I said. So officially a 4 out of 10 for Friday the 13th.
It's more fun talking about it than I did watching it.
Yes.
Do you guys think you would pick a future Friday the 13th?
Yes. I want to see one with him in it.
Okay. I think I would maybe
Space.
as well. 'Cause genuinely, so Andy might have to wait for us to pick another 9 if he wants to pick
I know. I'm
10.
waiting for it. As soon as I see an opening for Jason X, and fucking hell, I'm on a roll. Jason X followed by Friday versus Jason. We're in there.
Yeah, I think Friday the 13th Part 2 might come at some point because it's the one most tied to this. Like a couple of characters return and it kind of gets going. So my theme, which it isn't one, I'm just picking films I want to pick. The 3 films I've done are Wet Hot American Summer, Wizard of Oz, Friday the 13th. And two films I'm intending to pick would all fit into, accidentally, all in one day movies. Films that all happen in the one day. Because Wet American Summer is the last day of camp. Wizard of Oz, basically, there's a tornado. She gets knocked out and wakes up the next morning. So basically, it's the one day. And this is all, like, literally in one day. And the other two, I believe, to the best of my knowledge, that I'm intending to pick are both happened within, like, a 24-hour period. So I didn't mean to do it this way, but that seemingly is where I'm going with these. Is they're all set in one day. But it wasn't meant to be that way. Speaking of themes, Andy's next to pick. And Andy's theme is main stars that we have never yet covered on the podcast yet.
Correct.
Yet twice in that sentence. But Andy, carry on.
So in this film, it does, if you IMDb it, this person we have done before is first, but it's not this person. I think it's just because the most famous person in it currently.
Okay.
But continuing the theme of 13, I am going for 13 Ghosts.
Oh, right. I don't know if I've seen 13 Ghosts.
Tony Shalhoub, I can't say his last name.
Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah, that's it. Tony Shalhoub, Shannon Elizabeth, and Matthew Lillard, who we have done before.
So I'm assuming it's not the 1960 version then.
No, the 2002 version.
Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah, Tony Shalhoub.
13
Monk, if I remember.
Right. Yeah, Monk.
Sir 13 Ghosts.
Yes.
According to this.
Yes, it's going to be a fucking nightmare for people to Google this one. But yes.
I've never seen this one.
Yes. Now I know what you mean by Monk. Yes, I have never seen this film before. I won't delve any further down.
And you've never seen it, Chris.
Goes 2001.
Oh, here we go.
It's spooky season, of course. Andy,
it's spooky season is why I've carried on with the theme.
I've seen it popping up in a lot of like social media recently.
There we go. So it's popular
happening.
No, I just wanted to do a film with him because I like that guy, and Shannon Elizabeth's underrated, and Matthew Lillard brings back some Scream vibes. It's all horror.
Right.
It's all good.
I miss you mentioning Matthew Lillard. I was thinking of what you were picking. I didn't get on well with Matthew Lillard and Scream, so hopefully.
Oh, here we go. Strap in. He's going to win awards.
So you have it. 13 Ghosts, the 2001 version. Have a look for that, and we'll see you next time on the 10 Point Podcast.